Hey YouTube, how's it going? I'm up here at Andre's Harley Davidson in Champaign-Urbana, Illinois. They're having a demo truck day. Took a half day off work, do some test rides for everybody. First I'm going to do the 114 2018 Softail Fat Bob. I'm anxious to see how this compares to my Fat Bob. And I considered this quite a bit on my way here. And I am not going to try and do an exact comparison to my Fat Bob because I came to the realization it's not. This is a completely different bike, completely different frame, stance, the way it handles, everything. Different gas tank, suspension. I really don't know why Harley chose to keep the Fat Bob name. It's not a Fat Bob in the sense of what Fat Bobs are known for, with the dual headlights, the dual tail lights, the longer fender to it. But we'll see how it handles. Go ahead and get on it. Wow, this is a lot different. Holy cow. Initial thoughts are, this feels more like a sport bike than a cruiser. I'm sitting much closer to the tank than what my Fat Bob would be. Drag bars are kind of low. I'm about a 45-degree angle. If I were to buy this bike, I'd have to buy new bars. They've moved in the forward controls quite a bit. The original Fat Bobs, even at factory, my leg was about here. Now they're much closer to me. We'll just have to see how this dude handles. Alright, first things first. There is no ignition switch as far as what we're used to doing. It's a switch on the handlebar now. Everything is keyless. Looks like we're gonna go. Clutch feels great. Man, that's got an easy pull to it. I could pull this all day. It's like we're idling around 850 or so. It's got a much lower idle than the twin cams did. Again, if you don't know, this is the Milwaukee 8 114. Brake pedal, you normally have to push up for a brake pedal, but the brake pedal is nearly in line with the footrest, which is kind of odd. I can tell already this thing's got some torque to it. Holy smokes. Holy cow. Wow. Torque E. Right now I'm in third gear. It has a gear indicator on it. Pretty good engine braking that I can tell. I don't know how I feel yet about that brake pedal. It's kind of weird. I'm just used to having to put my foot up. Like I mentioned earlier, this bike does not have the forward controls that I'm used to. This is more of a reduced reach forward control. Oh man, I can see why people like the engine. Woo, you talk about torque. Now, I'm not familiar with this route at all. This is completely new to me. I'm not familiar with Champaign-Urbana. Looks like we're all getting cut off here by traffic. So I'm just going to kind of keep my distance and ride right. But more about the bike. The speedometer is a little small for me. That's probably like a 4-inch speedometer. I'm sitting very upright, but I am hunched over on, well, kind of contradicting myself here. I'm hunched over on the bar, but my back is upright, so I'm more leaning in with my hip. The seat's comfortable. From what I understand, Harley put in gel seats in all of their bikes now. Oh, turning on this is really cool. Probably because of the way that you're leaning into it. Oh man, this thing will kick you back. Holy cow. Very nice. Very nice. I've never done a video during a Harley sponsored test ride, so you know, I'm going to try and talk as much as I think I can. I'll cut out parts that I'm just enjoying the ride. Mirrors are okay. I don't know. I can't really see behind me. All I see is my arms. But one of the first things that I would do would change the handlebars, so it doesn't really matter. Kind of feeling a little squished on this bike. I feel like I'm closer to the gas tank than what I'm used to being on a Harley. I almost feel like I'm on a Sportster. And you know, other people that have ridden this bike, you know, I'd like to know your comments on that, but my legs are, oops, there was gravel. Well, I put gravel on a back road like this, that kind of dumb. I forget what I was saying. Oh yeah, my knees are higher up. They're almost parallel with the tank. My feet are back. My knees are almost in a 90 degree position. Very nice engine braking. There's zero shaking. I can see out of my mirrors like nobody's business. It's just a very small, very minimal shake, vibration. I mean, I can read the emblems on the guy's vest behind me, or jacket. It's a nice little country ride that we're doing. They said these would be about 20 minutes long. I'm just surprised on how cramped I feel. This is more of a sport bike oriented setup that Harley's done with the Fat Bob. Of course, they've classified the Fat Bob now as their performance bike. Instead of just a cruiser, like a Dyna cruiser, they've made it into their performance model. So you're going to expect a lot of changes. Like I mentioned, I'm trying really hard not to compare this with my Fat Bob, because it is not. Different frame, different suspension, different setup, different seat height. Everything has changed except for maybe the wheels. I believe they're still 130 180s. 130 in the front, 180 in the rear. But it's got a 3.5 gallon tank now, or a 3.3 or something to that effect. I do like the color though. I was asking the Harley guys at my local dealership why they thought that Harley put a 3.5 inch engine in these, or 3.5 inch fuel tank in these now. And they said that basically it was just so Harley could show off the engine better. Which made no sense to me, because they're robbing us of what, 60, 70 miles without that 1.5 gallon tank. I'm in 5th gear, doing about 2100 RPM. Still got some good pull to it. Someone almost dropped their bike. And narrow up just a bit. I'm thinking that this particular engine, the 114 at least, likes to be around the 2500 to 2800 RPM. That seems to be where I'm finding most of the pull is at for me. But man, this thing is torquey. Yeah, these mirrors are awful. I have to move my arms to be able to see. Most bikes I can think about how I would probably change them up. With this particular bike, having higher handlebars would not feel right to me. My arms were about up to here. I don't know, it would be an awkward position. I think this level of drag bar, maybe an inch taller, is the ideal spot. And the ideal type of drag bar, or a handlebar rather. The seat has a nice cradle to it. I feel like it's holding in my butt really well. And it feels comfortable. They use that gel padding. Not a big fan of the way this brake pedal is. Remember how I mentioned it was kind of in line with the heel rest. I don't care a lot for that. The clutch is very, very nice. Very smooth, light, easy to pull in. I'm hitting quite a few bumps. They don't feel terrible. Oh yeah. little torquey. Doing about 60 miles an hour. The bumps don't feel bad. I really don't see a terrible difference in the way that these bumps would compare to my dual shocks. I don't know what the adjustability is set on these though, because they're all adjustable now with, or at least this particular bike's adjustable with a twist knob. There's really no buffering between me and the wind. Not that I expected to be any. There's not a windshield, and the way the headlights are designed, they come up at an angle, it's just pushing it right on me. The bumps don't feel bad. They don't hurt, but it's not soaking it up like I was expecting it to from all the way I was told that this would function. It's actually quite bumpy. At least this particular model. I don't care for the suspension on this now. I really kind of think that my Fat Bob, or my Dyna in general, would perform on those bumps a little better. He's got some power. 6 gears, 73 miles an hour, and it's still pulling pretty good. Very nice. Very nice indeed. Very quiet. Of course, you expect that. Factory exhaust, whether it's a 2018, 2016, or 1980, they're all quiet. I would definitely have to push out these controls though. Everybody has their own way of riding, and I like my feet out a lot farther than they are. I don't know if this is something that I could ride for 2 hours and be comfortable on. I'm starting to feel that this is a commuter bike, something to spot around town on, go back and forth between the work if you work under an hour to your job. But for me to go out and spend the entire day on a bike, for me, this is just my opinion, this is not the bike for me. Again, I don't believe that Harley should have kept the name of the Fat Bob. Maybe they were afraid to already lose the Dyna name, and then they took away the wide glide on top of it. So if they were to drop the Fat Bob name and bring out a new model, then that could have caused detriment to their namesake or their fan loyalty base. But in my humble opinion of just riding bikes for the time that I have and understanding the older Harley lineup, they should have given this bike a new name. This does not represent the cruiser part of the Harley lineup any longer. This is, like I said, and they wanted it to be this way, they're a sport bike and something to maybe bring the younger generation that's kind of getting into the crotch rocket and those type of bikes, the leader bikes, over into the Harley world, because let's face it, that street lineup is a joke. I don't know. I feel like I'm on a shorter bike, and I don't know if it's because I'm pushed against the handlebar a lot closer than I'm used to being. I'd have to read the specs, and maybe you guys would be able to tell me before I even start to getting into it. With this new frame, is it shorter, not taller off the ground or shorter off the ground, but in length? Is it shorter than the old Dyna or Softail frame? Because this particular model makes me feel like it is. And it may just be the way that my body is representing the height and the way that I'm stanced. Looking at the wiring, Harley did a pretty poor job on cleanup. Harley has usually pretty good what's called fit and finish, you know, hiding the wiring or paint colors and durability and stuff. And the paints, like I said on this, I kind of like the paint, but the wiring, just having a big bundle of black cables going up to the bars, I think they could have came up with something a little better than that. Looks like we're going to get on the interstate for a minute. Got a pretty good group of people that I'm riding with, at least in front of me. No one's cutting me off or trying to be a Billy Badass. Everyone's staying their staggered formations. I'm pretty happy with the people that I'm riding with so far. You just don't know when you get on these type of rides and the group rides. You get some people that are just complete assholes, or don't know what they're doing, or not real familiar with riding bikes in general. So I'm in 6th gear doing 70 miles an hour, staying about 2,500 RPM. You guys are probably hearing the wind quite a bit because there's no buffeting between me and the wind. This would wear me out. I'm being pushed back pretty hard by the wind right now. Of course, I'm used to a windshield. Like I said, I hope I'm doing okay for you guys with this review. I'm not real familiar. This is my first time doing a ride like this and a review on a bike. So I'm kind of having to think of things to talk about, my opinions. And remember, these are just my opinions. My opinion may vary from yours, and that's okay. I believe that Harley makes a bike for everybody, their own style of riding and body positions. And for me, the Fat Bob is no longer a contestant in my bike. But that's okay, because there are other bikes. And like this Fat Boy that's diagonally for me, which I am going to test ride today too, which I'm very interested in. And the breakouts, the new Street Bob, the Lowrider. Oh hell, I'm going to be test riding quite a bit of them. Low speed maneuver really looks pretty good though. Feels pretty well balanced. Alright. Neutral was pretty easy to find. Again, this is the 2018 Fat Bob with a 114 engine. Thanks for watching.